How is it going, guys? Today we are going to be swapping out a crucial part inside the GR86 that directly correlates to the driving experience, and that is the shifter. It's something that you touch every time you drive the car, and if a car doesn't have a good shift feel, it detracts from the enjoyment you get from driving the car. Luckily, the stock shifter in the GR86 isn't all that bad. We just got back from about a 1,500-mile trip with the car, and I gotta say that I actually really like the stock shifter in this car, but I've always also enjoyed a short shifter. So we are gonna be installing the TRD GR quick shift lever. That's what they call it. I'm just gonna call it a short shifter. So obviously what we need to do is get the stock one out, and we can install the new one, and then we'll take this thing out for a drive and see how it feels. On the rear section of the center console, you're gonna be looking for these covers here. There's gonna be one on each side. You'll need to either push your seat all the way forward or all the way back to access these. We're gonna remove them with either a small flathead screwdriver or a plastic pry tool. And once those are off, we can take the 10mm bolt out. E-brake boot is going to come off next. We just need to grab the bottom edge and pull straight up. And then we'll slide it over the e-brake handle. The shift knob just unscrews off. Now we need to remove the plastic panel underneath the climate control switches using, again, the plastic pry tool. Now mine has this hook on the end that allows me to get into the corners and pry the piece off, but if yours doesn't have that hooked section, you can tape off the edges here of the shifter trim to make sure you don't scratch it up, and then pry from the sides. Once you have that off, that's going to reveal the two Phillips head screws that we'll remove. That's going to allow us to remove the shifter trim, so we're going to pull up on the corner that's exposed here and work our way around the edges. And once you get to this portion, we're going to pull towards the back of the car, and it should pop right out. We'll do the same thing with the shift boot. Just pop it straight up and slide it over the reverse lockout. We've got two more Phillips head screws that we'll remove. With the screws out, we're going to pull up on the center console to pop it free, and we'll slide it back a little bit. We need to disconnect these two connections here, and then we can slide the center console out of the way. We've got two more screws that we'll remove. And now we need to separate these two pieces here. There's going to be a tab on the front and back that we'll need to squeeze. And that'll pull apart just like that. With those pieces separated, we can pull the one on the driver's side straight back to release it. And we'll do the same thing on the passenger side, but because the harnesses are connected right here, we're just going to leave this off to the side and out of the way. There's going to be two white plastic retaining nuts here that you can just unscrew by hand. And we'll be able to slide this rubber boot and isolator over the lockout. That's going to give us access to the three 10mm bolts that are holding the lockout plate in place. Go ahead and take those out. And now we have four 12mm bolts that we'll remove to get this plate out. Before we pull this out, there is a clip holding the harnesses in place over on the passenger side here. You just need to pinch the top and bottom of that clip to free that up, and we'll slide this up and over. With all that removed, we're going to go underneath the car to get the shifter released. Underneath the car, we're gonna be looking for this rubber boot here that's covering the connection from the shifter to the shift linkage. We're gonna need to pull this back to reveal the spring clip that's holding everything in place. Now, if you have small hands, you'll be able to do this with just your fingers. If not, you're gonna need to use either a flathead screwdriver or a pick tool of some kind. You may also be able to do this from up top, but I'm doing this from underneath the car to give you guys a better look at what I'm doing. We're gonna remove that clip with some spring clip pliers. There's also gonna be a metal washer that we need to remove. And then we can pull the linkage out of the shifter. And then we'll go back up top. Back inside the car with the shifter disconnected, we're gonna pull it straight up and out. Now you can take the new shifter, make sure to install the included rubber boot. We're gonna shove that down there first. And then we can push it down. Pay attention to the orientation. You want the protrusion for the reverse lockout pointed towards the driver's side. And now we can go back underneath the car to reconnect the linkage. Back underneath the car, we're just gonna reconnect the linkage into the new shifter. And then we'll reinstall the washer and the spring clip. Once you've made sure that that is locked into position, we can pull the boot back over to cover everything up. Now we can go back up top. We're gonna loosely reinstall the lockout plate with the 3 10mm bolts. And what we need to do now is go into first gear. Make sure you're not going all the way over to the left, otherwise you're not gonna be able to go into gear and you may go into reverse. So just over a little bit and then up. And then we're gonna push the lockout plate all the way over until it's touching the reverse lockout. Wiggle the shifter a little bit to give you a little bit of leeway, and then we're gonna snug the bolts down before I tighten that last one. We're gonna check second. We're good there. So I'm gonna tighten down the last bolt and then double check one more time. First, second, and check that you can go into reverse. Once we've gotten to this point, the new shifter is essentially installed and we just need to put everything back together. If you guys have gotten this far, I'm gonna assume that you know how to do that. So I'm gonna quickly get everything back where it belongs and then we can go out for a test drive. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I actually like how the stock shifter feels in this car, but after driving around for a little bit, I gotta say that this is a pretty nice upgrade. It's nothing crazy like an IRP or anything like that. It's a 10% shorter throw than the stock shifter, which is pretty subtle, but you do notice it's a little bit notchier, and I think pair this up with a nice weighted shift knob and it's gonna be a great combination. Now, I just wish that they would have just came with these from the factory, but of course they love their add-ons and their accessories. So if you're looking for a great way to improve the shifter feel in your car, I think this is gonna be a great option for you. And that's gonna wrap it up, guys. Not too bad of an install. Definitely worth your time, especially if you value those small modifications that improve the overall driving experience. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I actually enjoy how the stock shifter felt in this car, but this makes it feel that much better. And it's the perfect opportunity to upgrade to an aftermarket shift boot or shift knob to spruce things up in the interior. If you guys wanna pick one of these up for yourself, the link is down in the description. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.